Hi, so in this video I thought we'd talk a little bit about Salesforce and certainly the emergence of AgentForce, because that seems to be a huge driver in Salesforce's evolution, albeit quite a dark art if you're an SME business, and that's what I specialise in. I've been doing Salesforce consultancy to SMEs for getting on for 15 years now, and I've seen a massive evolution of the Salesforce product. Lots of announcements and lots of razzmatazz, but nothing quite as big as AgentForce. So I wanted to talk a little bit about that and see if we could kind of unravel some of the things, some of the understandings, certainly from the aspect of SME businesses. So I guess it was the previous London tour, probably the 2023 one that I went to, that everything was about PromptBuilder and EinsteinGPT. Everywhere I went around the exhibition, there was great big banners and there were some demos going on, and lots and lots of hype about PromptBuilder and how it could revolutionize your business. And there were some demonstration use cases going on, which were pretty underwhelming, I must say, in that a lot of it was about rewording an email to a particular client using AI to reword and make the email better. Again, pretty underwhelming at the time, but I guess a lot of the spin on AI is this is the worst it gets. In other words, it's always going to get better, and it certainly has from that 2023 tour that I went on. But I came away from that tour thinking, how does this help my clients? My clients are certainly in the SME space, predominantly in the UK, occasional US client. But, how does it help them improve their business? So I started digging in to PromptBuilder, EinsteinGPT at the time. It's pretty difficult to do. They don't easily offer you, demo orgs that you can go and use. Certainly, if you spin up a new dev org, you didn't get those particular features, so it was hard to get to actually try them out without finding a client who's willing to purchase them. And certainly in the ecosystem I was working in, no clients were showing any particular requirement for that. And then I started to try and dig into how it's all priced. And that was very difficult to find out, but I started to unravel that there were some pretty huge price hikes to enjoy all the benefits of everything that they were certainly showing at that 2023 show. And in fact, I got suspicion that they'd be asking clients around an additional £400 per month to use the full suite of AI as it was at that time. And I got confirmation of that when an account exec actually sent me over the UK price listing. So in reality, I didn't see any SMEs going into that and paying that sort of money. And I was thinking, well, maybe Salesforce are just positioning this to the the larger style business. So then roll forward to 2024 and the big announcement from Mark Benioff, the CEO of Salesforce, he launches at Dreamforce the new product called AgentForce. So AgentForce is now the new name for everything IA related. So PromptBuilder, EinsteinGPT, whatever tools that they had at the time are all kind of bundled up into this new initiative, AgentForce. And AgentForce, from the spin they're telling us, is using AI agents to, I suppose, autonomize regular tasks in Salesforce. In truth, they're not really agents. If you go and look at the hardcore AI companies and what their definition of an agent is, it's where you would ask AI to do something and it would use its own intelligence to go off and do that particular task for you. And to be honest, agents are really early days at the moment, because the companies that are trying to use those are finding that often it goes off and does a task incorrectly, or it goes into this hallucination mode of getting the wrong response, wrong answers, and that then compounds itself. What Salesforce are really talking about is automation workflows using AI. So rather than create a task of as a good example might be creating a response to a client on a chat. So that's often the use case they use. Someone comes along to your store, which is run by the Salesforce engine, and they're asking a chatbot about something, and then the chatbot dives into the data that's actually in your Salesforce system and pulls back responses based on that. So that's kind of using chatbots to pull in available information and automating what would have been done or is currently being done by a human. So it's automating repetitive tasks as such. So I'm not nitpicking as such, because a lot of people are kind of making this assumption that they're calling them agents. Technically not agents. They're really kind of workflows. So I've started to look at that and thinking, well, this could be kind of interesting. And then a couple of events kind of happened. One is that the CEO of a company called Klarna, so you'll probably be aware of Klarna, when you go and buy something and go to your shopping cart and it offers you want to use Klarna to help you with spread the payments as such. And the CEO of Klarna announced a few months ago that he was dropping all enterprise software, including Salesforce, Workday, and whatever else was in his itinerary, and was going to use AI to do everything. And it sent quite a shockwave throughout the industry. And I started to look at what he was saying and evaluate what he was saying, and it kind of made sense, because someone said to me a long time ago, if you want a hole in the wall, you end up going to buy a drill. Well, you don't really want a drill, you want a hole in the wall. The drill is the means to make that hole in the wall. And if you think about it, a CRM with its user interface is really a way of helping you organize data and helping your personnel and your staff understand how to organize data. You don't really want a CRM. You don't really want to have to go out and spend money on that, but you have to do it because you've got to find a way of helping you organize data and understanding that data, and other systems as well. But if all the information's coming into your company, but telephone calls, emails, chat, and so on, if that could all be kind of stored in a database or several databases, and then you ask something to find you the answer, i.e. AI or AI agent or whatever, then why do you need the interface? We don't have an interface at the moment to ask Alexa to go and play me a tune on Spotify. If you're lucky enough to have one of the Alexa devices, I just say to Alexa, please go and play me latest tune on Spotify. And why wouldn't that work for business? And then not long ago, the CEO of Microsoft then comes out and gives a speech which he says that software as a service, so that includes things like Salesforce and Workday and SAP, etc., is dead. Now, he doesn't mean dead by today. What he means is that there's no point investing time and money in those, because the future is AI. The future is kind of what the Klarna CEO mentioned. Microsoft are kind of well versed to take that on, because they've got all the Office suite. Okay, they've got CRMs and SaaS products as well, but really they're kind of embedded in most companies in the world in their day-to-day Office suites and project plans, etc. And Copilot, which is not getting great responses at the moment, but it will get better. And they're well placed to kind of take that model away from the SaaS companies. Now, I think that's why AgentForce is being pushed so much. I mean, as a kind of pseudo partner of Salesforce, I get probably 3 emails a week from them encouraging me to sell AgentForce to clients, to get certified on AgentForce, what the benefits of AgentForce are. Here's another great video about AgentForce. And Mark Benioff's a clever cookie, and he'll have seen what's on the horizon as well, and he'll be thinking in a few years' time, if we can get all of our clients using AgentForce and automating all their tasks, they almost don't need the UI interface either. They just need AgentForce to do it and to help them develop. So I think there's a method in the current madness of how things are being so pushed at the moment by the Salesforce people to look at the future of the company and enforce their solidity in that particular market. So I understand why they're using it. Let's have a look then at costings. I was talking about the PromptBuilder and so on being like £400 a month. Well, AgentForce has moved to a totally different model. So now they're moving to a consumption model. So that's where you pay for what you use rather than a fixed subscription, which is the current Salesforce model. And it kind of makes sense because most AI products are based on consumption models. So although consumers can pay their kind of $20 a month and get access to your pro versions of ChatGPT and the Anthropic products and so on, they are limited products. It's probably enough for the general home user to use, but from a business perspective, talking to someone like me who's used it intensely, you soon run out of credits during the day if you're on the standard kind of $20 a month model, and you realize you have to move over to kind of an enterprise model using API where you're then paying on consumption, and therefore the costs aren't known. And the price that Salesforce aligned with this is $2 per conversation. So the question is, what is a conversation? And there is information, online on Salesforce's website help page as well, which defines what a conversation is. And there's 3 particular rules that they mention. I'll put a link here so you can go and have a look at that. It's very reminiscent of the 3 rules of robotics from the Isaac Asimov's Foundation series. The first rule is a robot will never harm a human. And it's kind of got a similar twist to that in the Salesforce AgentForce rules of what a conversation is. But effectively, it's saying to AgentForce, I'd like to create a campaign that targets my customers that bought blue shirts off me, for instance. There is some obvious questions regarding that. When does the conversation end? So if the AgentForce goes off and starts building something, you say, well, actually, can you just change that? Because I don't just want people who bought blue shirts, I want ones that bought pink shirts as well. Is that a new conversation? Is that part of the same conversation? So those are all kind of areas that are somewhat muddy at this moment in time. That aside, I can understand why Salesforce are going down that particular route. That's the way AI has moved to, and Salesforce need to move to that as well if they're going to protect their user base and their growth kind of going forward. So back to the other thing though is how do I as a consultant get to go and see AgentForce in action? And again, that's really difficult. Again, if I spin up a new dev box, then I don't get access to AgentForce. It says I can use AgentForce in a sandbox of a live environment, which is fine if it was my environment. But if I go to a client's environment and look at the sandbox, it diverts me back to production. I then have to agree to enter into contract for new products, which would be the AgentForce products. which if I don't use, I don't get charged for, because I'm going to be charged now on a consumption model, but I'm then asking the client to go into potential cost. Now there is this, I think you can have 1,000 conversations to get started before you start charging. But anyway, even so, I've kind of got to almost contract the client into cost for me just to try that, and that's kind of a no-go area for me, unless the client wants to try AgentForce as well. So I headed off to Trailhead and looked at using some of their modules to learn how to use, and there's some pretty good modules over there that you can go through. And there was one that I took that, you had to take some kind of preliminary ones, which, what AI is, etc. And that was all fine. But I did go through the module of building my first AgentForce agent in Salesforce, and they use this particular model which I alluded to earlier, which is kind of a travel company who has a chatbot online. So it's a Commerce Cloud, Experience Cloud environment, and all of the data regarding the vacations, etc., sitting inside Salesforce, and they want to expose those onto the Experience Cloud website, and they wanted to start to use a chatbot to answer kind of regular questions. So you've probably seen this kind of chatbot over last 12, 18 months as more and more companies are using automated chatbots, similar kind of thing. And in this particular process, they will teach you step by step how to actually build that model, and you go through it and you spin up your test environment that they give you in the Trailhead, which is a real Salesforce environment, and by following their steps, then you build that particular agent, which I did, and you get so many points for doing that. It wasn't what I would call a simple task. And looking at my current clients and all my previous clients, I don't think there's a single client of mine that would, get past 20% of that particular build. There's a lot of steps, a huge amount of steps to actually set up the automated agent. A lot of it, involved going into kind of back end. And what I hadn't realised, what it did actually teach me, was that the agent itself, or the AgentForce agent that I'm building, is the automation to trigger a flow. So you've still got to have the flow there in the background. And I don't know about you, but I found flows really disappointing, in that although Salesforce pushed this clicks no code, that's certainly not the case in most flows. Certainly a lot of the flows I go and build, you go through the first steps, okay, I want to build a flow, what do I want to call it, what object do I want to run it on, and so on. And then we get into this kind of area when we're kind of having to define the records and so on, and suddenly we're into coding, if statements and curly brackets and so on. And okay, someone who understands a bit of code might say, well, that's really basic stuff. I'm looking at it from a client's perspective. How would my clients get on understanding that? And they just would not. I say myself, I know a little tiny bit about code. I understand managing coders. I've done that for 20 years. But I don't get involved directly in the code myself. And I would say that a few times that I've got to that point where I'm kind of guessing what that is, and then I hand that over to my developer to do. So flows definitely are not clicks no code. I absolutely would argue that one with Salesforce. And therefore, if you're using AgentForce to build agents, and you need to build the flows as well, then it's certainly not clicks no code. That aside, the they do give some very, very good use cases for AgentForce to automate a lot of things in Salesforce. That's certainly something I'm really, really interested in. So the other thing I just did want to mention is, currently Salesforce are obviously selling the benefit of using AgentForce. And I do think, it's got a lot of legs. It's a good product. I do believe, it will get better. I'm going to continue my journey on Trailhead. I may even get myself certified on AgentForce and start to dig in to have a look at it. However, there are other players to this as well. So, there's no reason why Salesforce can't work with other external AI tools such as ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini from Google. That you can't bring these all into the mix as well. It doesn't have to be that if you want to use AI, you have to use Salesforce's AI. Obviously, they'd like you to use that particular one. But maybe some of these others are better models and may be cheaper models for you to use. So what I say is watch this space. I'll keep putting up videos throughout my journey of AgentForce and AI with Salesforce. So let me know, drop me a comment below if you've got any kind of questions to ask, and hopefully my journey will be useful to you. So thanks for watching.